should be no hope. So just look inside. There's an answer waiting, because you and I, we were created to love, created to love. We've got one chance to make a change in the world around us that's falling down, because we've got one life to live. So take every moment and seize the day, yeah.
They say life is like a box of chocolates, but I would like my box to be exquisite and fabulous. That's why I have an amazing guest with me tonight, Mr. Blair Potts, who is a chocolatier right here in Charlotte.
Thank you for having me on tonight.
I'm excited to have you. Chocolate is something that most women and men love. They're connoisseurs of it. But it's like a fine wine. It has to be cultivated, and you go from bean to bar. So let's talk about a little bit of how this develops and how you really make a chocolate.
Well, that's actually a really great point. It is like fine wine because cocoa beans from around the world have very different characteristics. And of course, you have your Hershey bar, which is made with kind of your basic beans. But what we do is find beans that have really interesting flavor profiles. You can have very fruity cocoa beans. You can have spicy. You can have some that have a lot of nut quality to them. And then some pretty far out flavors with some. There's some in Venezuela, for instance, have a little bit of tobacco. So they're like a strong red wine. So what we do is we source the beans and then we bring them here to Charlotte and we roast them, which is a major part of it because that brings out a lot of flavor. And then at that point, rather than just making bars of chocolate, we make all truffles. And so all of our process is aimed with the final truffle in mind.
And I wanted to have you on tonight because I have had the pleasure of tasting your chocolates before. We've met at events, and I've been gifted with your chocolates before, and they're amazing. They're like nothing else I've ever had. But you have a lot of history. You have been in the food business. You've done a microbrewery. So let's talk a little bit about that and what brought you to where you are today.
Well, I started my first food-related business. I actually got a job as a busboy at the second Ruby Tuesdays to ever open. And I was working actually under the owner, the founder, who had an eye for detail and obviously had a great idea. And I learned an awful lot as a teenager. And luckily, I was willing to listen to people who were older than me. But I've been doing food pretty much nonstop since then. I did co-found the first microbrewery in Connecticut back in the 80s. And we were the 23rd microbrewery to open in the U.S., so that gives you an idea how early we were, because there's probably more than that in Mecklenburg County now. I've been doing some other specialty food, but I got into chocolate about 8 or 9 years ago. My wife said, it's looking like cocoa beans are starting to kind of be varietals like wine, grapes. And she said, maybe you should look into that. And I'm smart enough to listen to my wife, and my wife is always right. So.
And that's why you've been married how many years?
We will be married 30 years next month.
There you go. That's the secret, right?
That's exactly
Listen to
right.
your wife. I love that you said that. And you said you're a trophy husband.
I am a trophy husband. My wife has a great career as a family nurse practitioner. And so we had an opportunity for her to work in Virginia when we were living in Connecticut. And so I packed up and followed her career down. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm a trophy husband.
I love it.
And luckily, I always have chocolate on hand when I fall short in the other husbandly duties. So.
That you have custom handmade for her. Well, with a little help. We're going to show some of those pictures as we talk, but it's quite a process.
It is. It's very involved.
So you go from bean and you cultivate it, and then you really add the flavors. Like you said, you have bourbon flavors, but your truffles, you have a lot of different flavors.
We do, and we actually, a lot of our truffles, all the flavors coming from the beans. We do single bean truffles, but you're right, we also will work, we're working with Pure Intentions Coffee. They're a local firm, and so we're able to match their coffees with our cocoa beans to get the exact right flavor we want. We also do a lot of nut-based stuff, so we have hazelnut truffles, which are actually called breezies. They're named after our daughter who had the idea for that truffle. We have a salted caramel that's just absolutely amazing. It's based with sourwood honey. which is native to the Appalachians. I'm from East Tennessee.
Right.
So yeah, we have just a huge variety, and we also do at least one special truffle every month. So we
I
always have
love
something
that.
coming along.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to show our audience some of those specialty flavors and some of the finished product, and you are going to salivate. These chocolates are just so amazing. So check out these photos, and we'll be right back with Blair Potts. Were those not amazing pictures of chocolate? I know you want to take a bite right now. Blair, you really have a gift. It's genius of how you've had this concept and just made it yourself into a chocolatier right here in Charlotte. But being a small business has its challenges, does it not?
Well, it sure does, and we're really lucky to be here in Charlotte. We actually moved the business here 2 years ago, and I have to say that Charlotte has been an amazing place to bring a small business. Very supportive. The community is very good about trying to help out. There's lots of resources. But yeah, any small business, especially when you're an artisan, there's all kinds of challenges. You have seasonality issues, you have to get yourself out there and you don't have the advertising budget.
Right.
And then finally, something I learned actually from Jim Cook at Sam Adams is that if you're making a handmade product, you have to hand sell it for the first few years. And so you have to look for every opportunity to explain why our chocolate is really amazing.
Right.
And so the nice thing about Charlotte is there's an awful lot of opportunities to do that.
And you're really good at networking. And I think too, in any city, it's really about the networking and getting your name out there. And it's love at first bite. So, but you have to have a person take the first bite. Because like you said, you have a small advertising budget, and what advertising really works now, media, social media is like the big ticket. So having said that, you just have such a love for what you do. We have a mutual friend, and she is just really always talking about how you love your craft. And so in order to have a small business and really come up with great new things like the bourbon and, just the chocolate of the month, you just have to really not only be geniusly creative, but have a passion for what you do.
Well, that's right, and passion can breed confidence. And I think anyone who's ever started a small business knows that you have to have confidence because it can be rocky at times.
Right.
But you're right, I am driven by my passion, and I find myself going on and on and on about chocolate. But luckily, I always have chocolate with me while I'm doing that, so people don't seem to mind too much.
Right. Yeah, you have a good bribe, right?
Right, that's exactly right.
Well, I'm so excited that you're with us tonight. I'm so excited to talk about your passion and the love of what you do. And thank you for those amazing pictures showing the process and the finished product. And I wish you so much success because I know you love what you do. And it shows. And, I really like to bring people on that are local to really help get their names out there and, to really network. So I'm excited you're here tonight.
Well, Debra, thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, Blair Potts. He can be your own chocolatier. Tonight I'm so excited to have one of my very special friends. She has something that's revolutionary right here in Charlotte that is helping discover talent, and it's Miss Dawn Rickus that has
there.
Talent Inc. the studio. I'm so excited what you have brought to the Carolinas because this is something that is really important to you, discovering talent, because you have been in theater in the past, your son loves it, but a lot of people out there don't know how to get involved. So I want to talk a little bit about you and how you got started.
I previously worked for an agency and I realized how many parents were taken advantage of with these things that come through the mall or these.
If it's too good to be true,
Absolutely,
it usually is too good
yes,
to be true.
it
Right.
is because most agencies do not advertise on radio.
Right.
But moms were chunking out some cash for their child to be famous.
Right.
And I gained a big passion for wanting to help parents realize the correct way.
Right.
Most people are not overnight sensations. Even if they are, it took them years to
So
train.
let me get something that we hear a lot. My child is amazing. So she's so amazing or he's so amazing. the agency should pay for everything.
Absolutely.
False.
Absolutely false. An
Right.
agency, no agency anywhere is going to pay for your education.
Right.
Just like no dentist office is going to pay for your dental schooling, or an architecture firm is going to pay for your class.
Right.
You've got to commit to that. That is something that you've got to have. That training. Your headshots, that's something you're going to have to pay for. Your marketing materials, and now most castings are done online through
Right.
casting systems that people don't realize. The cool thing now is, because of those casting systems, you can audition here in Charlotte for a role in LA
Which
or for a
is
film in Atlanta.
super amazing now.
Awesome.
Because before, you couldn't do that.
couldn't do
had
that.
to fly there. So now it's all virtual.
It's
Love that.
it's all, not all of it, but a lot of it you can. Now, the problem with that is people already on shows in LA are auditioning for our jobs here in Charlotte
Right.
or in Atlanta.
We're going to show a few pictures of some of your success stories, and we're going to talk about that when we come back with Don Rickus, Talent Inc., The Studio. What steps did these people that we just looked at, tell me a little history of your superstars.
Sure, all of them started in the same place that everyone else did. They want to get into the industry. Came into an open call at an agency or somewhere, and all these that you've seen actually went through our development program. We have our regular classes, and then we have more of a boot camp style program, and all of these people went through that. And I feel like these people are different because they were so determined. They didn't take no for an answer. It took one of the pictures that we show, he went through the program a couple times.
Right.
And we had to present him several times to agents in LA. And now he's been on 2 TV series, and he's going to tape a 3rd. So,
Right. So he didn't take no for an answer.
didn't take no for an
because in
answer.
this industry, it really could be the casting agent. It could be different casting agent, different day. It really is about perseverance, because you hear of all
Absolutely.
these stars, like I was turned down for this, and then I got this, or they were turned down 10 times or 50 times.
50 times
Right.
is what they say. You're going to
Right.
get 50 no's to a yes, and
Right.
that's good.
Right.
That's on a good day.
Right, exactly.
It just takes that perseverance. It takes that background and that training and the heart.
Right.
And a thick skin in
Right.
this industry, because you're not going to be famous overnight. If you
Right.
ever are, there are people that I've trained that have been at it for years and years and years and haven't had that big break, and they're just waiting on it. But it could happen.
Right.
So it's just sticking with it, putting in the time, and continuing to grow, always learning new things, always training and keeping up with the industry.
You know, we've worked together, and I love that, you know, it's really about the heart. It's about, you know, finding what really works for some of our young people that
Right.
maybe would not know how to be a model or how to be an
Right.
actor. And lots of times you have to have versatility.
Absolutely. So many girls walk into me and tell me they want to be a model.
Right.
And I always tell them that's a hard world. It's the right size and the right height. And I always encourage them, be an actor who can model. Be a model who can act.
Right.
Learn more things, and it makes you more
Marketable.
for sure. So
Right.
keep your doors open. Don't
Right.
just pigeonhole yourself.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing, is knowing who
Right.
you are, knowing what you can do, and going for it. Don't
And
take
it's
no.
helped you too, because you had a career path, you know,
Absolutely.
in theater, and you've done a lot of different things in the entertainment world, and your son is experiencing a lot
Yes.
of that too. So those stepping stones have helped you to help other people.
For sure, for sure. I grew up as a dancer, and then owned my own dance studio, became a choreographer, and choreographed for shows, and moved into that acting world. And my son has grown up in it, and it's awesome watching him take it. Now he's helping teach, so that's such a wonderful
Right.
thing to see.
It's a family affair.
It's a family
Love it.
affair, absolutely.
Well, thank you for stopping by the set
Thank
tonight.
you.
You're amazing. You're doing such wonderful things. I'm so honored to be your friend and work with you, and, you know, help us, you know, discover the next whoever it might be, actor, model, the best it. right?
Absolutely.
The best
The it factor.
So the it factor. So thanks for stopping by, my
Thank
gorgeous
you.
friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dawn Rickus, she is looking for the next it factor, but she's also looking to help you discover your dreams if that's what you want to do. See yourself on the front page of a magazine or in the next Disney movie or maybe just in a local TV commercial. Dawn Rickus from Talent Inc., the studio. And the winner is Beatriz Gill, the next Mrs. South Carolina, United States. And she's right on our set. Welcome, Bea.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. And you know, you have a lot to do with this.
Oh, I do.
Yes, you helped prepare me for my very first North Carolina United States pageant. So, and that got me hooked with the system. And then after we moved, I just fell in love with the system and kept competing.
Well, I am a huge fan of yours because you are the most positive, confident person that really I know in the pageant world. I'm really so proud of you. So you want to talk a little bit about confidence tonight. And, you know, everything's a journey. Life is a journey. And, you know, where we start is never where we end. So let's talk about your journey and your confidence and maybe a little advice for ladies out there that are trying to find themselves.
Absolutely. You know, Debra, we're confused. In this country, we think that confidence means that you have the world by the tail and that you can do no wrong. But the truth is that confidence is about knowing that you have a few weaknesses and you have a lot of strengths, and you can use those strengths to make up for those weaknesses and actually fix them.
Right.
And for example, me in swimsuit. Now, I'm a size 8, which in the pageant world, as you know, is plus sized. Let's face it.
Which is sad because 12 is really, truly the average size of the American woman out there. And a size 8 is
it's okay.
large in the
It's
pageant
okay.
world.
Yeah,
You're
it
exactly
is,
right.
but it's large in the pageant world. And so I decided I have a couple of strengths that I can use to combat that. Now, I'm never going to convince you that I look like a Victoria's Secret model because I'm 5 feet tall,
Right.
but I will tell you that it's all about the confidence you bring to the stage. So I decided to, first of all, bring a swimsuit nobody else was using, off the shoulder, really cute swimsuit. I decided to find somebody who was really good at tanning and contouring, and she contoured me and made me look like a little hottie toddy. And then I used my wrap in an unusual way, so I unwrapped it and ta-da, there I was. And I just decided to use my natural confidence. The idea that, you know, I am here on the stage, I want to win, but winning is not as important as putting on a show.
Right.
And so that whole idea actually culminated in a win for me. So I just, whenever I find that I'm not strong at something, Debra, I always try to find what strength do I have that I can use to make up for that weakness.
And I love that you don't beat yourself up. You really don't. You're like, okay, well, that's not something I'm perfect at. So, you know, let me mask it by doing this, or let me help it along. And I love that about you, is that, you know, you're confident in who you are. You don't try to cookie cutter anybody else, because nobody else can be an amazing Beatriz Gill like you. And so that is something that I think is important in society today, is not being cookie cutter.
Absolutely. You have to be an individual because we were all made to be special and unique and beautiful. And that's what we bring to the table. So you just have to find what is special about you. What are your strengths? And then look at your weaknesses, not necessarily as weaknesses. I always tell the girls that I work with to look at them as untrained strengths. They're not strengths yet, but you can use your strengths to make them something a little bit better for you to manage, easier for you to manage.
Right.
And so it's a lot of fun to watch my young girls say, okay, well, I'm not good at public speaking yet, but I have this natural given talent that I'm very charming. Let me try to use some of that charm on stage when I'm speaking. And so
love
they
that.
use those strengths to kind of make up for those weaknesses. It's exciting to watch that.
But let's be honest, I'm sure that's some Beatriz Gill training, because you do a lot of pageant training and coaching.
Yes.
So coaching, I think, is very important, because sometimes when you coach a lot of people, you learn something from the girls in training them, but also don't you feel like it brings value to you as a person?
Oh, absolutely. I keep telling my girls, you should know some statistics, a little bit about everything. And so then they'll call me on it. They'll say, okay, well, Miss B, what do you know about campus safety? Or, okay, Miss B, what do you know about domestic violence? And I have to be on my toes with them all the time. And actually that helped me in competition, because my onstage question asked, what would I like to see changed among young girls of this generation? And a statistic popped into my head that really had shocked me, just that I had learned just the week before. 76 million women that are college age all around the world are actually illiterate in their own languages. And that is frustrating because those are the women who are going to train their children, who are going to raise their children, who are going to be leaders in their community. How can we let that happen?
We can't.
And so we can't. So we have to start educating young women all over the world and making sure that they're at least literate in their language so that they can become the leaders of tomorrow. And I just wanted to make that point clear, and I tied it into my platform because I believe in education, and ended up winning the pageant. And I honestly believe that my girls helped me because they reminded me the importance of using what you know.
See, it's a win-win.
It is.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to show some of those amazing pageant pictures of your win. And I'm going to have to say the off-the-shoulder coral dress. Is it coral?
The coral dress, yes.
Oh my God. I am in love. In love. So we're going to look at a little video montage of Miss Beatriz Gill, Mrs. South Carolina, United States, and then we'll be back chatting a little more with her. And now we're back with Beatriz Gill. Those pictures were amazing. I'm so proud of you. I bet it was just euphoric when you're crowned, that moment. You're so nervous you forget it, right?
Well, I actually remember leaning over and telling Stephanie Lynn, the first runner-up, when you go to nationals, I'm going to be in that front row cheering you on. And she said, I'll do the same for you. And then they called her name as the first runner-up. And so I misunderstood what happened. Classic Miss Universe moment where Miss Columbia, that whole mix-up. I misunderstood, and I was going to move her onto the front.
Where's Steve Harvey now?
I know, right? But then I realized that I had won, and I was really surprised and really excited. But at that moment, you start to remember all the people that got you there, and so you weren't there, which broke my heart. I wish you could have been there because I just love you. And my husband wasn't there; he was traveling. But then you start to remember that they were there with you in spirit, and so it was kind of like all of you were crowning me.
Oh, you're so sweet. That's why we love you. You're just so humble. You could be actually the president of the United States, and we won't
You're
talk
trying
about
to get me
that.
assassinated?
But what I'm saying is, you could be, and you would not let it go to your head. You would still remember all the people that got you there, and that's what I love about you.
Aw,
Let's
thank
talk
you.
about you preparing for nationals. Like, what is on your checklist?
Okay, so first of all, the first thing I did was I took a moment to thank the national director, Renee Landtrip. I always mispronounce her name, but I
Say
took
that
a
3
moment to
times.
thank her. I know, right? It's a tongue twister. But I took a moment to thank her because she changed the system up a little bit, and she included a total package type of deal with the system. So it's 25% swimsuit, 25% evening gown, 25% interview, and 25% on-stage question. And you have to realize that public speaking is the #1 fear that most people have.
But you're
not
great
me.
at it.
I'm not
It's not
afraid of
you.
it at all. So I sent her a little note thanking her for continuing the tradition and keeping the pageant going, and because I've loved this system for so many years. And then she told me, well, good luck getting ready for it. And she wasn't kidding because the list of things you have to do is at least a foot long. But it's
Right.
been a lot of fun. I was in Columbia for a photo shoot today, and I got my hair and makeup done by the second runner-up's daughter. This is my new family now. I'm so lucky to have a family. And we just picked out a gown. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but
The color?
royal blue.
Oh, that is
will
your
tell you
color.
that.
That is like, you won in royal blue.
Yes, I did. I
Yes.
won in royal blue.
Uh-huh.
That's my color.
Uh-huh.
And I think we're going to stick with the same swimsuit because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I love that.
Did you see a girl at Miss USA wearing my same swimsuit? She copied me.
She did, didn't
Yeah,
she?
she
Heard.
did.
She got the B bulletin, right? The B square.
Yes, you did. But it's so much fun preparing and trying to decide what to wear and what to figure it up and always having a backup. And, my shoe actually broke on stage. So this is a little warning. My shoe broke on stage just as we started opening number, and I had to do opening number with a broken shoe in a 7-inch heel. And when I went back, I had
7-inch heel?
7-inch heel.
7-inch
Yes.
heel.
Well,
Okay.
I'm a shorty.
Yeah,
I'm a
but
shorty.
still, 7-inch heel, girl. You deserve
know.
you deserve to win just from that alone.
Well, the fact that I didn't fall out of my shoes and die was a really big deal. But I used duct tape. I had skin-colored duct tape, and I used that to fix my shoe because the show must go on.
Right.
And
I was-
yet another lesson you learn with pageants that you must go on. So my little tip there is go ahead and spring for the official pageant shoes don't think I can get a good bargain, because it doesn't always work out. You could break your shoe on stage.
But look, that gave you the courage to win. You thought, if I could do this, I could do
I can
anything.
do anything. Yes, absolutely.
Well, you have so much going on, and
do.
you're an author,
I am.
and you're writing your second book.
Yes, I am. I'm very excited.
And that has to be super exciting.
It is very exciting. You know, we live in a world now where there's so much more that you can accomplish if you set your mind to it, and you can learn so much from other people. And the great thing is that there's other authors out there that actually want to help you get published. And so they will, if you express an interest and you learn at their feet, they'll pull you right along with them. And that reminded me of pageants. Think about how many friends we have that helped us along
So
the way.
many, yeah.
And do you remember when we first met 17 years ago? I'm going to out us.
Can you believe that?
17
years ago.
But even
I
then, we
knew
were
I loved
helping
you
each
from the
other.
moment I met you.
Same
You were just
here.
a cheerleader, and you're just such an inspiration. But there are a lot of our friends that
Yeah, oh,
you know,
yeah.
that are true and just amazing people.
Oh yeah, and absolutely, and that's just how pageants are, and I think that that's how this country is in general now. We really do want to help each other out. It's almost like, hey, you want to get up here and enjoy the view with me? Let me pull you up. And that's the spirit that I want us all to continue in. And so my first book is about volunteering and the importance of volunteering, and how you can actually use altruism to just change your life and everybody else's, and the benefits that you get from volunteering. And then my second book is a zombie thriller, because you know I love zombies.
I know you were searching for people to like read it and
kind of
you know,
give me some feedback and see how they enjoyed
I wanted
it.
to be
and
a bestie and be one of those that would reach out, but I knew I wouldn't have a chance to read it, so I thought, okay, I'll let your other.
Well, and I
pageant
think
friends
you would have nightmares afterwards, because I did have one young lady tell me, well, I don't think I'm going to sleep for a week now, which is what I was going for.
Good. Then you
Yes.
mission accomplished.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of you, and you
Thank
are just like an inspiration to me, because you truly know how to balance everything. You are so humble, so beautiful, so gifted, so talented, and you always find time for other people. I can remember the beginning of the show. You came down, and you really, years ago, 15 years ago, 14 years ago, you were, you know, really one of the game changers in making our show what it is today. And you're a great friend, and I'm so happy for your journey. I'm so proud of you, and I just can't tell you how honored I am to be your friend.
Well, it was my pleasure. And if you know any young ladies in North Carolina or South Carolina that would like to wear this crown or the North Carolina crown, please let us know, because we have a wonderful director, Tasha Etter, and she would love to have them. And it's like being part of a family. We'll be their sister, and we'll help them through it.
You can be the big sister. Well,
Yes.
good luck to you at Nationals.
Thank you.
And we hope that you come back after Nationals and fill us in on your big win there. And thank you for taking the time to stop by the set tonight.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
Beatriz Gill. She's one amazing woman, and she is our Mrs. South Carolina, United States.
When you look around, see the tears falling down. In a world so cold, where there seems to be no hope. So just look inside. There's an answer waiting, because you